We just got a brand new update in Fall Guys called the Tulap update. Watch this entire video because it has everything you need to know, which is a lot. Let's talk about creative first, since that's where we got some of the biggest changes in this update. This update was less about adding new objects and more about adding new features. The first big change we got is that finally, Mediatonic doubled the creative budget from 1000 to 2000. Yes, I'm not even lying, they actually did that. So now you can make maps that are double the size of what you would normally be able to do. This is already one of the most significant changes that Creative has ever received, and I'm curious to see if they'll improve it even more. I mean, the budget isn't a big problem now for most people, but who knows, maybe they'll improve it even more over time. Next, let's talk about another thing that's not as significant as the budget but still really exciting, and that's the music selector. You can now select whichever soundtrack you want from the game to play in your round. I wasn't actually expecting them to use the official names of the soundtracks, but yeah, they actually did. It might be a bit difficult to find which one you want if you don't know the names, but thankfully you can just hover over them and they start playing to make your life a bit easier. The thing that doesn't make our life easier though is the fact that, at least from what I've seen, these don't sort alphabetically or based on their season, so you might have to play hide and seek to actually find the track you want to use. Now, a feature that for pretty much the entire time Creative has existed, people were begging for it, and you could do it through a bug in the game, but it got patched in the last update. I'm of course talking about overlapping objects. This is not enabled by default, so you have to go to your tools and enable it there. And once you do that, you can overlap objects on top of objects. Now, it does say allows you to overlap some objects, but I've not yet noticed any real limitations when it comes to using this tool. The only one I did notice was that you can't put things inside the start line and the finish line, which does make sense. And lastly, for creative, we got a brand new Skybox, which is an interesting one. It's the winter Skybox, but it's not actually the same one from Season 3. It does look similar, but there are some noticeable differences, for example the bottom of it. In my opinion, it actually looks better than the normal Season 3 one, so I'm happy for this change. That's everything we got in creative. Now let's talk about the normal game. It of course wouldn't be a new update without some rounds getting unvaulted. This time around we got 6 rounds back from the vault without others getting vaulted. These rounds are the Slime Scraper, Big Shots, Penguin Pursuit, Short Circuit, Fruit Shoot, and lastly both the normal and final versions of Volleyball. Not all rounds are available in all shows, you can see which rounds are in which shows here. This is a pretty decent selection of rounds considering that maps are not getting vaulted at all. Right now there's actually only 18 rounds in the vault, so if I had to guess, I'd say that we'll have every round in February 2024. And also, with this batch of unvaulted maps, we actually have every single Legacy Season 1 round in the game except for just 2 team games. What this allows Mediatonic to do is bring back some of our favorite shows that were long gone. And they are actually doing it. In customs they added 4 new shows. These are Slime Climb Time, Hoverboarding Time, Classic Knockout, and Day at the Races Squad. And these are not just getting added to customs, but they're also finally getting added to the show Selector as well. Here you can see the show schedule we currently have, and it only includes shows that we've not seen in a really long time, so that's great. And lastly, we got our new Fame Pass too. This is called the Fabulous Feast Fame Pass, and it is a food themed pass. I actually love everything in this Fame Pass, and it's definitely my favorite one by far. Well, I love everything except for this emote. Yeah. Overall, a really good Fame Pass that's honestly worth buying if you like it. We also got so many bug fixes it would take an entire separate video to talk about them, but you can see them here in case you have the patience to read all that. This shuffle selection also got a small change, now being 10 player show instead of 1 player. And that's everything we got in the Tulap update. It's a pretty big update that brought a lot of changes to the game, and it was a much needed one. We also have leaks of the next Fame Pass in December, so if you want me to go over that, just leave a comment and also subscribe.